Imagine lying in bed, the room quiet, the world outside slowly fading into darkness. Your eyelids grow heavy, your breathing slows, and little by little, you surrender yourself to sleep. But what really happens? After you drift away, where does your mind go? Why do we dream at all? And what strange, fascinating, or even comforting facts lie hidden within the mysterious world of sleep? Tonight, let's begin a long, gentle journey through 100 sleepy facts about dreams and sleep. We will explore how our bodies rest, how our minds create entire worlds while we slumber, and why every night is a delicate miracle of biology and imagination. This is not just a list of facts, it's a soft-flowing story, carefully unfolding piece by piece so that you can relax, learn, and perhaps fall asleep along the way. So, get comfortable. Let your body sink into stillness. Breathe in and breathe out. Slowly, let's step into the dream world together. Fact 1. Humans spend about 1/3 of their lives asleep. Think about that for a moment. If you live to be 90 years old, you will have spent around 30 years asleep. That's almost as long as some people's entire adult life. Sleep may feel like doing nothing, but it is, in truth, one of the most active and essential states your body can enter. During those years spent sleeping, your brain is not simply turned off. Instead, it is performing maintenance, consolidating memories, processing emotions, repairing tissue, and regulating hormones. It's like running nightly repairs on a massive machine without this downtime. The whole system would collapse. When you close your eyes each night, you're essentially stepping into a time machine. Hours pass, but to you it can feel like just a blink. In those moments, you're giving your body the gift of restoration. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the most important investment you can make for your tomorrow. Fact 2. The average person dreams 4 to 6 times every night. Even if you don't remember them, your brain is producing multiple dreams every night. They can be vivid, colorful, emotional, or sometimes completely bizarre. But what's most fascinating is that most of us forget about 95% of our dreams within minutes of waking up. Your brain tends to store dreams in short-term memory, unless something anchors them, like walking up during the dream itself or writing it down immediately. That's why keeping a dream journal is so powerful. It tells your brain, this is important, keep it. Imagine it every single night. Your mind writes short films, entire stories, each with characters, plots, and landscapes. Most of them disappear into the void by morning, like whispers carried away by the wind. Isn't it comforting to know that even while you rest, your imagination is still awake, creating art inside your mind? Fact 3. Dreams mostly occur during REM sleep. Sleep is divided into different stages, and one of the most important is REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. During this stage, your brain becomes almost as active as when you're awake. Your eyes dart back and forth beneath your eyelids, and your body enters a state of temporary paralysis. This is when the majority of your vivid, story-like dreams happen. REM sleep usually begins about 90 minutes after you fall asleep and repeats in cycles throughout the night. Early in the night, REM periods are short, maybe 10 minutes. But as morning approaches, these cycles get longer, sometimes lasting up to an hour. That's why your longest, most memorable dreams often happen right before you wake up. This stage of sleep is not just about dreaming. It's also crucial for emotional processing and memory consolidation. Your brain replays events, files away important information, and sometimes even works through problems that seemed unsolvable during the day. In a way, REM sleep is your brain's overnight therapy session. Fact 4. Some people experience lucid dreams, where they know they're dreaming. Lucid dreaming is one of the most mysterious and exciting aspects of sleep. In a lucid dream, you become aware that you're dreaming, sometimes even gaining control of the dream itself. Imagine flying across a city skyline, exploring ancient worlds, or meeting people from your past, all while knowing none of it is real. Around 55% of people have experienced at least one lucid dream in their lifetime, though frequent lucid dreaming is much rarer. Some people train themselves to induce lucid dreams using techniques like reality checks, asking yourself throughout the day if you're dreaming, or keeping a detailed dream journal. Lucid dreams blur the line between reality and imagination. They can be thrilling, therapeutic, and even healing. For some, they provide a safe space to face fears, confront nightmares, or practice skills. For others, they're simply an adventure, chance to step into a limitless universe crafted by the mind. Fact 5. Not all dreams are in color. You might assume that dreams always mirror waking life, full of vibrant colors and vivid scenes. But in reality, a significant percentage of people dream in black and white, especially those who grew up before color television became widespread. In the early 20th century, studies showed that most people reported dreaming without color. After the rise of color TV and film, reports shifted dramatically suddenly. More people dreamed in color. This suggests that our dreams are influenced not only by memory, but also by the culture and media around us. When you dream in black and white, the world may feel like an old movie. Shadows deepen, details sharpen, and emotions often stand out more strongly. Whether in color or monochrome, dreams carry meaning in ways far beyond simple images. They are reflections of memory, imagination, and the subconscious mind weaving its own language. Fact 6. Your body paralyzes itself during REM sleep to keep you safe. One of the strangest but most essential features of REM sleep is sleep paralysis, a natural process where your brain temporarily shuts down voluntary muscle movement. This paralysis prevents you from physically acting out your dreams. Imagine if your body moved every time you dreamed of running, fighting, or flying. It would be dangerous, chaotic, and exhausting. The paralysis is controlled by the brainstem, which sends signals to relax most of your muscles, while allowing you to breathe and keep vital systems running. This built-in safety system is why you don't leap out of bed every night when your dream self decides to sprint across a desert or climb a mountain. Sometimes, though, people wake up while this paralysis is still active, leading to an experience called sleep paralysis. In those moments, you're awake but unable to move, and your brain can still produce dreamlike hallucinations. It can feel eerie or even frightening, but it's harmless and usually lasts only a few seconds. Knowing it is just your brain's safety mechanism at work can make it a little less scary. Fact 7. Dreams can be influenced by your dreams are not sealed-off worlds. They're porous, often absorbing details from the environment around you. Have you ever heard a phone ring, only to see it become part of your dream as a mysterious bell in the distance? Or felt cold air and dreamed of standing in snow? This blending of real-world stimuli with dream imagery is surprisingly common. Sounds, smells, and even physical sensations can filter into dreams. If someone sprays water lightly on your skin while you're dreaming, your brain might interpret it as rain in the dream world. Similarly, sleeping with a weighted blanket may lead to dreams of being hugged or gently pressed. This fact shows just how creative the brain is. It takes random inputs and transforms them into meaningful storylines. Next time you wake from a dream that feels strangely connected to your surroundings, consider that your environment was weaving itself into your nighttime story. Fact 8. Animals dream too. If you've ever seen a dog twitch, whimper, or run in its sleep, you've witnessed an animal in the middle of a dream. Research has shown that many animals, from mammals to birds, experience REM sleep, suggesting they dream just like we do. Dogs likely replay memories of running, chasing, or playing. Cats, too, show twitching whiskers and rapid eye movements during their dreams. Even rats have been shown to dream. Scientists tracked brain activity and found that rats replayed the same neural patterns during sleep that they had used while navigating a maze. Birds such as zebra finches also showed dreamlike brain activity, especially after learning new songs. In other words, they may be practicing their melodies in their dreams. This discovery is comforting. Dreaming connects us not only to ourselves, but also to the animal kingdom. It suggests that the act of dreaming is a deep biological process shared across life on Earth. Fact 9. People used to believe dreams were messages from the gods. In the ancient world, dreams weren't seen as random images from the brain, but as divine messages or glimpses into the future. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and Greeks all considered dreams sacred. In ancient Egypt, there were even dream temples where people slept in hopes of receiving visions from the gods. Priests would then interpret these dreams, offering guidance or prophecy. Similarly, in ancient Greece, philosophers like Aristotle and Plato wrote about the meaning of dreams, often linking them to spiritual truths. The Bible, too, contains many stories of prophetic dreams, like Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dream about 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows, which foretold years of plenty, followed by famine. Today, science sees dreams as brain processes, but the mystical aura remains. Even now, many people believe dreams carry symbolic meaning, offering insights into hidden desires, fears, or subconscious truths. Whether spiritual or scientific, the fascination has endured for thousands of years. Fact 10. The longest dreams often happen just before waking up. Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt like an entire movie? That's because your longest REM cycles happen in the morning hours. While early night REM cycles may last only 5 to 15 minutes, by the time you approach morning, REM can stretch to 40 to 60 minutes at a time. This is why morning dreams feel richer, more complex, and easier to remember. They have more time to develop, with characters, storylines, and emotions that can rival a short novel. Some people even report continuing dreams across multiple mornings, as if their mind is picking up where the story left off. It also explains why hitting the snooze button sometimes produces vivid dream sequences, redrifting in and out of extended REM periods, letting your imagination weave quick but intense stories. In a sense, mornings are prime time for dreaming. It's like your brain saves the most elaborate performances for the final act, just before you return to waking life. Fact 11. Dreams can help with problem solving. Have you ever gone to bed worrying about something, an exam, a work project, or even a creative challenge, only to wake up with the answer? This isn't magic. It's the brain doing what it does best while you sleep, making connections. During sleep, especially in REM stages, your brain becomes less rigid in its thinking patterns. Instead of sticking to the same repetitive loops that frustrate you while awake, your mind becomes more flexible, more open to unusual associations. That's why artists, scientists, and inventors throughout history have credited dreams with breakthroughs. Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine, once dreamed of being chased by warriors carrying spears. The spears had holes near their tips, and when he awoke, he realized the needle of a sewing machine needed a hole at its point, not its end. Paul McCartney famously composed the melody of Yesterday after hearing it in a dream. Albert Einstein was inspired by dream imagery when forming his theory of relativity, imagining himself riding on a beam of light. Even if you're not inventing machines or writing music, your dreams may be quietly helping you. They untangle emotions, rehearse scenarios, and sometimes hand you the key to a problem you couldn't unlock by daylight. Fact 12. Sleep strengthens your memory. Sleep is not just its rehearsal. When you learn something new, your brain doesn't simply store it like a file in a cabinet. Instead, it replays, organizes, and integrates the information into existing knowledge. Much of this happens while you sleep. There are 2 main types of memory sleep helps. Declarative memory. Facts and events, like remembering a phone number or the name of a new colleague. Procedural memory. Skills and actions, like learning to ride a bike or play the piano. During deep non-REM sleep, the hippocampus, your brain's memory hub, talks to the replaying experiences of the day and strengthening the most important ones. During REM sleep, emotional memories are processed, helping you make sense of events that carry stress or joy. This is why pulling an all-nighter is often counterproductive. You may think you're giving yourself more study time, but without sleep, your brain struggles to store and retrieve the information. Sleep, in a way, is the final stage of learning. Think of it like pressing save. On your day, without sleep, the progress bar never completes. Fact 13. Naps can boost creativity and focus. Naps aren't just for children or lazy afternoons. They're scientifically powerful. Even a 20-minute nap can improve alertness, mood, and performance. Longer naps, especially those that reach REM sleep, have been linked to bursts of creativity. In fact, some of history's most brilliant thinkers swore by naps. Salvador Dali, the surrealist painter, used a trick he called the key nap. He would fall asleep in a chair, holding a key. As he drifted off, the key would fall, waking him just as he entered dreamlike imagery. He then used those surreal impressions in his art. Thomas Edison also used short naps as a way to refresh his mind for invention. Modern research shows that people who nap after learning something new perform better when tested later, compared to those who stayed awake. The magic of naps is that they give your brain a mini sleep cycle, allowing memory, consolidation, and creative associations to form. In just a short time, you get a taste of the same benefits as a full night's rest. So next time you feel guilty for napping, remember, you're not being lazy. You're giving your brain the boost it needs to think more clearly and dream more vividly. Fact 14. Sleep cycles repeat about every 90 minutes. Your night of sleep isn't one long stretch of identical rest. Instead, it's divided into cycles, each lasting about 90 minutes. In each cycle, you move through different stages. Light sleep, when you're drifting in and out, easy to wake. Deep sleep, where the body repairs tissues, strengthens the immune system, and restores energy. REM sleep, where dreams become vivid, emotions are processed, and the brain consolidates memory. On average, adults experience 4 to 6 of these cycles per night. What's interesting is that early cycles contain more deep sleep, while later cycles have longer REM stages. This means that both the beginning and the end of the night are important, one for body repair, the other for mind repair. Understanding sleep cycles can even improve the way you wake up. If you wake in the middle of deep sleep, you may feel groggy and disoriented, a state known as sleep inertia. But waking at the end of a cycle, during light sleep or after REM, feels much more natural. Sleep, then, is like a dance, moving gracefully from stage to stage, rhythm after rhythm, until morning arrives. Fact 15. Sleep deprivation affects the body like alcohol. Most people underestimate how serious sleep loss really is. Missing a full night of sleep, staying awake for 24 hours. Stress affects your body and brain in ways similar to being legally drunk. Studies show that being awake for 17 hours impairs performance as much as a blood alcohol concentration back of 0.05%. And after 24 hours, it's closer to 0.10%, well above the legal driving limit in many countries. The effects are profound. Slower reaction times, making driving or operating machinery dangerous. Impaired judgment, poor decision-making, and reduced problem-solving skills. Emotional instability, irritability, mood swings, even heightened anxiety. Weakened immunity. Fewer hours of sleep reduce your body's ability to fight off infections. Chronic sleep deprivation has also been linked to long-term risks: heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and even shortened lifespan. Yet here's the strange thing. When sleep-deprived, people often don't realize how impaired they are. Just like someone who has had too much to drink, they feel capable, even alert, while their actual performance drops dramatically. Sleep isn't just about comfort. It's as essential as food and water. Without it, the body begins to break down slowly at first, then all at once. Fact 16. Sleep cleans the brain through the glymphatic system. Every night, as you drift into deep sleep, your brain does something extraordinary. It washes itself. This process happens through the glymphatic system, a network that clears away waste products from your brain cells. During the day, your neurons work hard firing signals, processing thoughts, managing emotions. In the process, they produce waste, including proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. If left to build up, these toxins could clog your brain like trash piling up in a city. But when you sleep, your brain cells actually shrink, creating space for cerebrospinal fluid to flow more freely, rinsing away the waste. Think of it as an overnight cleaning crew, sweeping the brain's streets while you rest. Without enough sleep, this system doesn't function properly. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation may allow harmful proteins to accumulate, increasing risks of memory loss or disease. This discovery is relatively recent. Scientists only began to understand the glymphatic system in the last decade yet. It emphasizes a timeless truth. Sleep is not just rest, it is repair. Fact 17. Dreams may regulate emotions and reduce stress. Dreams are often strange, even confusing, but beneath the surreal imagery, they serve an important function. Emotional regulation. During REM sleep, your brain replays emotional experiences. Almost like re-watching a movie. But here's the difference. In dreams, stress hormones, like norepinephrine, are suppressed, meaning you relive the emotions in a calmer, less overwhelming state. This helps explain why you might wake from a dream about a stressful situation, feeling lighter, as if your brain has filed away the experience. It is also why nightmares often happen after trauma. They irritate brain as attempt to process overwhelming emotions. Matthew Walker, a leading sleep scientist, describes dreams as overnight therapy. They allow us to work through fears, sadness, and even grief in a safe environment, one where the sharp edges of reality are softened. It's comforting to think that while we rest, our minds are tending to us, quietly healing emotional wounds we might not even realize are there. Fact 18. Sleep needs change throughout life. Not everyone requires the same amount of sleep, and our needs evolve with age. Newborns sleep the most, up to 16 to 18 hours a day, because their brains are rapidly developing. Much of this time is spent in REM sleep, which supports growth and learning. Children still need around 9 to 12 hours, as their bodies and minds continue to grow. Teenagers often require about 8 to 10 hours, but their biological clocks naturally shift later, making them night owls. This is why many teens struggle with early school start times. They're biologically wired to sleep later. Adults typically need 7 to 9 hours per night, though individual needs vary. Older adults may need slightly less sleep, but they often experience more fragmented rest, waking more frequently through the night. Across all ages, one truth holds. Consistent, high-quality sleep is essential for health. Skipping rest at any stage of life comes with consequences. Understanding these changing needs is like respecting the seasons of life. Just as winter calls for hibernation and summer for long days, our bodies call for different rhythms of rest as we grow. Fact 19. Some people can control nightmares with practice. Nightmares can be frightening, heart-racing, body tense, sometimes leaving you shaken even after you wake. But here's something hopeful. With training, many people can learn to reduce or control nightmares. One technique is called imagery rehearsal therapy. It works like this. During the day, you recall a recurring nightmare, then rewrite it in your mind with a calmer or more positive ending. For example, if you dream of being chased, you might reimagine yourself turning to face the pursuer and discovering it's a harmless figure. By practicing this new version daily, you teach your brain to change the script during sleep. Lucid dreaming also offers a path. If you become aware you're dreaming during a nightmare, you can sometimes shift the story, confront the fear, or even wake yourself up. Over time, these methods reduce nightmare frequency and intensity. It's a reminder that even in the darkest dreams, we are not powerless. With but the ends practice and support, we can turn nightmares into softer dreams. Fact 20. The body has an internal clock called the circadian rhythm. Behind the scenes, your sleep is guided by a powerful system. The circadian rhythm, this 24-hour internal clock, regulates not only sleep but also body temperature, hormone release, digestion, and even mood. At the heart of it is the suprachiasmatic nucleus SC, a cluster of about 20,000 neurons in the brain's hypothalamus. This master clock responds to light and darkness. When the sun rises, light enters your eyes and signals the SCN to suppress melatonin, the hormone that makes you sleepy. When darkness falls, melatonin rises, nudging you toward rest. Modern life often disrupts this natural rhythm. Artificial light, screens, irregular schedules, and night shifts can confuse the clock, leading to insomnia or fatigue. That's why sleep experts recommend dimming lights at night, avoiding screens before bed, and seeking natural sunlight in the morning. Your circadian rhythm is like a conductor, orchestrating when your body feels alert and when it craves sleep. Honoring it creates harmony. Ignoring it brings chaos. Fact 21. Sleep strengthens the immune system. When you fall asleep, your body doesn't just rest, it gears up for defense. Sleep plays a critical role in strengthening the immune system, ensuring your body is ready to fight off infections and recover from illness. During deep sleep, the body releases cytokines, proteins that help combat stress, inflammation, and infections. Think of cytokines as tiny soldiers patrolling your system, identifying threats, and coordinating defense. Without enough sleep, the production of these protective proteins drops, leaving you more vulnerable to viruses like colds or the flu. Research has shown that people who sleep less than 6 hours a night are more than 4 times as likely to catch a cold compared to those who rest at least 7 hours. Sleep is like recharging your body's shield, ensuring it can block attacks from the outside world. This is why, when you're sick, your body craves more sleep. It's a built-in healing mechanism. By resting, you're giving your immune system the time and energy it needs to restore balance. So next time you feel under the weather, consider sleep not just as comfort, but as medicine. Fact 22. Dreams are often influenced by daily experiences. The content of our dreams doesn't appear out of nowhere. Much of it comes from our daily experiences, processed and reshaped into surreal stories while we sleep. This is known as the day residue effect. If you've been stressed at work, you might dream of missing a deadline or being unprepared for a test event years after finishing school. If you watched an intense movie, parts of its imagery might sneak into your dream world. But dreams don't always mirror reality directly. Instead, they blend fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination into strange narratives. For example, you may dream of walking through your childhood home, but in the company of co-workers you met only recently. The brain stitches together old and new experiences in ways that defy logic but reveal hidden connections. Dream researchers believe this helps with memory consolidation. By replaying bits of your day in altered form, your brain decides what to keep, what to let go, and how to connect pieces of knowledge. Dreams are like nighttime editors, rewriting your life into a story that your brain can store. Fact 23. Sleep improves learning and memory. Have you ever studied late into the night, then woken up, remembering the material more clearly than you expected? That's because sleep is not passive. It actively improves learning and memory. When you acquire new information, your brain first holds it in short-term storage, like notes scribbled on a scrap of paper. But during sleep, especially in deep stages in REM, the brain replays the new information, transferring it into long-term storage. This process is called memory consolidation. For example, motor skills, like playing piano or riding a bike, improve with sleep. Language learning, like remembering new vocabulary, solidifies overnight. Problem solving also benefits. Many people wake with insights they didn't have the night before. Sleep doesn't just save memories, it reorganizes them, finding patterns and connections. This explains why students often perform better on tests after a good night's rest than after an all-night study session. As one scientist famously said, sleep is the single most effective thing we can do to reset the brain and allow learning to take place. Fact 24. Lack of sleep can affect mood and relationships. Most of us know the feeling. After a poor night's sleep, the world feels heavier. Small annoyances irritate more easily. Patience runs thinner, and joy feels harder to reach. This isn't just perception, it's biology. Sleep deprivation impacts the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, making it more reactive. At the same time, communication with the prefrontal cortex, the rational, controlling part of the brain, weakens. The result, stronger emotions, less control. Studies show that people who sleep poorly are more prone to mood swings, anxiety, and even depression. Beyond personal mood, this extends to relationships. Couples who lack sleep are more likely to argue, less likely to empathize with each other, and slower to resolve conflicts. In contrast, well-rested people report better communication, greater patience, and stronger bonds. Sleep isn't just personal health, it's relational health. By taking care of your rest, you indirectly nurture your connections with others. Fact 25. Some people experience lucid dreaming. Most dreams sweep us along like passengers in a moving car. We don't control where the road goes. But in lucid dreams, something different happens. You realize you are dreaming. This awareness can sometimes allow you to control the dream's direction. Lucid dreamers report being able to fly, change scenery, or interact intentionally with dream characters. For some, it's a thrilling form of nighttime adventure. For others, it's a therapeutic tool used to confront fears, practice skills, or reduce recurring nightmares. Lucid dreaming tends to happen during REM sleep. When the brain is most active, some people naturally slip into lucidity, while others practice techniques like reality checks asking throughout the day, "Am I dreaming?" or keeping a dream journal to boost awareness. Though rarely, about 20 to 30% of people experience lucid dreams frequently, it shows how incredible the sleepy mind can be. In dreams, reality bends, and lucidity gives us the keys to explore. Fact 26. Sleep cycles repeat several times a night. When you close your eyes and drift off, you don't simply slide into one deep, unbroken sleep. Instead, your rest follows a series of cycles, each lasting about 90 to 120 minutes. These cycles repeat throughout the night, usually 4 to 6 times depending on how long you sleep. Each cycle contains stages. Light sleep N1 and N2. Your body relaxes, muscles loosen, and brain activity slows. You're easy to wake during this stage. Deep sleep N3. Also called slow-wave sleep. This is when tissue repair, growth, and physical restoration occur. REM sleep. Rapid eye movement. The brain becomes active, dreams flourish, and memory consolidation takes place. These stages flow in order, then restart, like waves rising and falling on a beach. Early in the night, deep sleep dominates, ensuring the body repairs itself. Later, REM sleep becomes more frequent, giving the mind more time to dream. Understanding this rhythm is comforting. It means even short naps can restore you if they align with these natural cycles. It's like catching the right current in an ocean, letting your body float toward healing. Fact 27. Your brain remains active while you sleep. Sleep may look like stillness from the outside, but inside your skull, your brain is buzzing with activity. Neurons fire, electrical waves surge, and chemical signals shift. In fact, during REM sleep, the brain can be as active as it is when you're awake. This nighttime activity is crucial for many functions. Memory. Your brain replays and reorganizes information. Emotional balance. Dreams help regulate mood by processing feelings. Creativity. Connections form between distant ideas, sparking insights. Far from shutting down, the brain is like a theater at night, performing plays, rehearsing lessons, and painting vivid landscapes of dreams. One fascinating discovery is the glymphatic system, a network that clears toxins and waste from the brain while you sleep. It's like a cleaning crew sweeping through after the day's activity, flushing out harmful proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases. Without sleep, this cleanup is incomplete, leaving the brain foggy and burdened. So even though you may feel unconscious, your mind is hard at work, sculpting a healthier, sharper, calmer you by morning. Fact 28. Sleep deprivation alters perception of time and reality. When people are severely sleep deprived, the world begins to blur. Hours feel longer. Thoughts drift strangely, and even reality can distort. This happens because the brain's normal rhythms break down when rest is missing. Lack of sleep affects the prefrontal cortex, which governs logic, attention, and decision. Without enough rest, concentration slips, reaction times slow, and judgment becomes clouded. That's why driving tired can be as dangerous as driving drunk. Beyond simple fatigue, sleep deprivation can cause microsleeps, brief moments when the brain shuts down for a few seconds, even with eyes open. Hallucinations. Seeing or hearing things that aren't there. Distorted time perception. Minutes feel like hours, or hours pass unnoticed. In extreme cases, prolonged sleeplessness leads to dreamlike confusion even while awake. The boundaries between night and day, between imagination and reality. It shows just how vital sleep is. It anchors our perception, keeping the world stable and coherent. Without it, we slip into chaos. Fact 29. Sleep patterns change across a lifetime. Sleep is not the same for everyone. It evolves as we grow. From infancy to old age, the body's needs shift, shaping how long and how deeply we sleep. Infants, babies sleep 14 to 17 hours a day. often in short bursts. Much of this is REM sleep, supporting rapid brain development. Children. School-aged kids need 9 to 11 hours. Their sleep includes longer, deep stages, fueling growth and learning. Teenagers. Despite biological needs for 8 to 10 hours, many teens struggle with late-night schedules and early school times, leading to chronic sleep loss. Adults. Most thrive on 7 to 9 hours. Deep sleep decreases gradually, while REM remains steady. Elderly. Older adults often sleep less deeply, waking more frequently at night. Naps may help restore balance. These shifts are natural. Just as seasons change, so do our sleeping rhythms. Recognizing this helps us show patience with ourselves and others, understanding why a teenager sleeps in or why grandparents nap in the afternoon. Sleep is a lifelong companion, adapting to each stage of our journey. Fact 30. Sleep enhances emotional resilience. Imagine waking from a peaceful night of rest. Worries feel lighter, challenges less intimidating, and your mind steadier. This isn't coincidence, it's the emotional power of sleep. While awake, stress hormones like cortisol accumulate. Sleep lowers these levels, restoring equilibrium. Meanwhile, REM sleep helps the brain process emotional experiences, replaying stressful events in a safer, dreamlike form. This rehearsal allows you to face challenges with less raw intensity the next day. For example, if you argue with someone and then sleep, your brain quietly works on the memory overnight, softening its sting. Without rest, the emotional wound remains raw, making conflicts feel worse. Studies show that people who sleep well are more optimistic, empathetic, and resilient in the face of difficulties. Sleep-deprived individuals, in contrast, are more prone to anxiety, depression, and overreacting to minor problems. In essence, sleep acts as an emotional reset button. Each morning, it hands you a calmer, clearer lens through which to view the world. Fact 31. Dreams help with problem-solving in ways that waking logic sometimes cannot. Have you ever gone to bed stuck on a difficult question, only to wake with the answer? That's because while you sleep, your brain continues working on unresolved challenges. In dreams, ideas mix freely, unbound by the strict rules of daytime reasoning. Famous examples include Paul McCartney, who dreamed the melody of Yesterday, and Dmitri Mendeleev, who saw the periodic table in a dream. This ability stems from the brain's unique chemistry during REM sleep, when rigid logic relaxes, allowing creativity to flourish. Fact 32. Sleep strengthens memory consolidation, locking the day's events into long-term storage. Without enough rest, new knowledge often slips away like water through fingers. During deep sleep, the hippocampus, the brain's memory hub, replays patterns of neural activity from the day, essentially rehearsing what you learned. This process transfers memories to the neocortex. For long-term storage, students who sleep after studying recall material far better than those who pull all-nighters. Dreams may even be the mind's way of linking these memories into larger networks of meaning, ensuring that not only do you remember facts, but also how they connect to the bigger picture. Fact 33. Sleep boosts immune function, acting like a secret medicine for your body. When you sleep deeply, your body releases proteins called cytokines, which help fight infection and inflammation. Sleep also increases the production of immune cells, giving your body the tools it needs to defend itself. That's why when you're sick, your body craves rest. It knows that sleep will strengthen its defenses. People who consistently sleep fewer than 7 hours are far more likely to catch colds, while those who sleep well build stronger resistance. Sleep isn't just for the mind, it's a shield for the entire body. Fact 34. Lack of sleep affects appetite and weight deep within the body. Two hormones, ghrelin and leptin, work together to control hunger. Ghrelin tells you when to eat, while leptin signals fullness. Without enough sleep, ghrelin levels rise and leptin levels fall, leaving you hungrier and less satisfied after meals. This imbalance explains why tired people often crave sugary, hickory foods. Sleep deprivation also slows metabolism and makes exercise harder, creating a cycle that leads to weight gain. Rest isn't only about energy. It's part of maintaining a balanced relationship with food. Fact 35. Dreams can help regulate trauma. For people who have gone through difficult experiences, sleep offers a safe stage to process memories. During REM sleep, stress chemicals like noradrenaline decrease, allowing the brain to revisit painful memories without being overwhelmed by raw emotion. This gentle exposure helps separate the memory from the intense feelings that accompany it, making it easier to carry into waking life. Some researchers believe this is why dreams often return us to troubling themes. Our minds are working to heal. It also explains why PTSD often disrupts sleep. Without restful REM, the brain struggles to soften traumatic memories. Healthy dreaming may be one of nature's oldest therapies, a quiet way of turning pain into resilience. Fact 36. Sleep is deeply tied to our circadian rhythm, an internal 24-hour clock that governs when we feel alert and when we feel drowsy. This rhythm is influenced by light and darkness, with daylight signaling the brain to release cortisol for energy, and darkness prompting the release of melatonin to encourage sleep. When circadian rhythms are disrupted, be shift work, jet lag, or staying up to late hours, sleep quality suffers. The body's cells, which operate on tiny clocks of their own, fall out of sync, leading to fatigue, lowered immunity, and difficulty concentrating. It shows how profoundly sleep is woven into the fabric of time itself, with each sunrise and sunset guiding the cycles of our inner world. Fact 37. Naps, when timed correctly, can be incredibly restorative. While long naps that enter deep sleep may leave you groggy, short naps of around 20 to 30 minutes can refresh the mind, sharpen focus, and improve mood. These power naps take advantage of light sleep stages without dipping into slow-wave sleep, preventing grogginess upon waking. Interestingly, many cultures such as in Spain with the siesta, historically built naps into daily life. Even great thinkers like Leonardo da Vinci and Winston Churchill swore by napping as a tool for creativity and endurance. Science confirms that a carefully timed nap can act like a miniature night of sleep, giving the brain a burst of clarity, while also protecting heart health. Fact 38. Lucid dreaming is a phenomenon where the dreamer becomes aware that they are dreaming and, in many cases, can control the dream's storyline. This rare but fascinating state happens most often during REM sleep, when the brain is highly active. Some lucid dreamers report being able to fly, travel to imagined worlds, or even solve real-life problems inside their dreams. Techniques like reality checks, keeping dream journals, or practicing mindfulness before sleep can increase the chances of lucid dreaming. Scientists are intrigued by this state because it shows the brain can achieve self-awareness even while asleep, blurring the line between waking consciousness and dreaming imagination. For many, lucid dreaming feels like stepping into a secret playground of the mind, where the impossible becomes possible. Fact 39. Dreams are often forgotten within minutes of waking, with estimates suggesting that 95% of dreams vanish quickly. This forgetfulness occurs because the brain's chemistry during sleep is not optimized for memory storage. Levels of norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter linked to memory formation, are low during REM sleep. That's why unless a dream is particularly vivid or you wake during it, the memory tends to fade like mist in sunlight. Still, dream recall can be improved. Keeping a notebook by the bed and writing down fragments upon waking helps solidify them. People who practice dream journaling often report remembering more vivid and detailed dreams over time, sometimes even recognizing recurring symbols or themes that reveal insights into their subconscious. Fact 40. Sleep and dreams play a crucial role in creativity and innovation. Many breakthroughs throughout history have been sparked by dream-inspired insights. For example, Elias Howe envisioned the design of the sewing machine needle in a dream where he was threatened by warriors carrying spears with holes near their tips. Thomas Edison reportedly napped with objects in his hands so that when he drifted into dreaming and dropped them, he would wake quickly and capture the ideas forming in his half-sleep state. The relaxed, uninhibited flow of dreaming seems to allow the mind to connect distant ideas in surprising ways, leading to novel solutions. It's as though the sleeping brain is a hidden workshop of creativity, working quietly in the dark to shape inventions, melodies, and stories that change the world. Fact 41. Sleep restores energy at a cellular level, replenishing the very powerhouses that fuel life. Inside every cell, mitochondria act like tiny engines, generating energy for daily activity. During sleep, especially deep sleep. These engines repair themselves, clearing out waste and restoring their ability to produce ATP, the molecule of energy. This is why, after a full night's rest, the body feels recharged in a way caffeine can never truly replicate. It isn't just about being less tired, it's about each cell being powered up, ready to function at its peak. Without this nightly restoration, cells struggle, leading to fatigue, lowered immunity, and long-term health problems. Sleep, in a sense, is the ultimate battery charger for the human body. Fact 42. Dreams often reflect emotions more than literal events, serving as mirrors for the heart. While you might not dream exactly about your work, stress, or relationship worries, you may dream of storms, broken bridges, or missed trains. These symbols often represent the emotions underneath daily experiences. Psychologists studying dreams note that themes of fear, joy, or longing appear frequently, dressed in different storylines. The symbolic quality is why dreams can feel meaningful, even when bizarre. The brain translates emotions into images. For instance, flying may represent freedom, while being chased could reflect anxiety. Even though dream interpretation is an exact science, the consistent emotional resonance across cultures shows that dreams are a universal language of feeling. Fact 43. Sleep is essential for learning new motor skills, whether it's playing piano, riding a bikey, or practicing a dance. During sleep, especially REM, the brain replays patterns of movement learned during the day. These patterns strengthen neural pathways, making actions smoother and more automatic. Athletes and musicians benefit immensely from this overnight rehearsal, waking up to find a move or passage easier than it was the day before. Experiments have shown that people deprived of REM sleep struggle to improve in motor tasks, while those who sleep soundly show dramatic progress. It's as if the brain has its own secret practice session while the body rests, weaving lessons into muscle memory. Fact 44. Sleep deprivation affects emotional recognition, making faces harder to read. When the brain is tired, the amygdala responsible for processing emotions becomes hyperactive, while the prefrontal cortex, which helps regulate emotion, weakens. This imbalance makes people more reactive, but less able to interpret subtle cues. A tired person may misread a neutral face as angry or threatening, fueling misunderstandings. Relationships, friendships, and teamwork all suffer when sleep is lacking. By contrast, a well-rested brain perceives emotions accurately, allowing empathy and connection to flourish. It is another reminder that sleep isn't just about personal well-being. It shapes how we interact with others, how we build trust, and how we experience love. Fact 45. Sleep patterns are influenced by genetics as much as environment. Some people are naturally night owls, with genes that delay melatonin release, while others are larks, who rise with the sun. Scientists have identified clock genes that help determine circadian preference, meaning your ideal bedtime may be written in your DNA. Of course, lifestyle plays a role. Artificial light, work schedules, and habits can override natural tendencies. But the biological foundation remains strong. Understanding your chronotype can help you align your life with your natural rhythm. For example, night owls forcing themselves into early schedules often suffer fatigue, while larks may feel drained by late-night obligations. Embracing your natural sleep style, when possible, is one of the simplest ways to improve rest. Fact 46. Sleep influences appetite in ways that ripple through daily life. When the body is deprived of rest, hormones governing hunger fall out of balance. Ghrelin, which signals hunger, rises, while leptin, which signals fullness, drops. The result is a stronger urge to eat, often for high-calorie comfort foods. This is why late nights often lead to cravings for snacks, pizza, or sweets. Studies show that people consistently sleep-deprived consume hundreds of extra calories per day without realizing it. The brain, searching for quick energy, pushes toward sugar and fat, even when the body doesn't truly need them. Over time, this contributes to weight gain and metabolic issues. By contrast, when the body receives proper rest, hunger hormones stabilize, cravings ease, and natural portion control returns. Sleep is, in a very real way, an invisible regulator of diet. Fact 47. Napping is not just a luxury but a strategic tool for the brain and body. Short naps of 20 to 30 minutes boost alertness and mood, while longer naps that include a full sleep cycle can enhance creativity and memory. Cultures around the world embrace siestas, and modern workplaces are beginning to recognize their power, creating nap pods for employees. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station are scheduled for strategic naps to maintain sharpness during long missions. The key is timing. Naps too late in the day can disrupt nighttime sleep, but when placed strategically, they recharge the system. Even great minds in history, from Leonardo da Vinci to Nikola Tesla, are known to use napping as a way to expand mental productivity. Fact 48. Sleep and immunity are deeply intertwined, with these defense system relying heavily on nightly rest. During deep sleep, the body produces cytokines, proteins that fight infection and inflammation. Without sufficient sleep, cytokine production falls, weakening the ability to combat illness. People who sleep fewer than 7 hours are more likely to catch colds, flu, or other infections compared to those who sleep 8 or more. Vaccines also work better when administered to well-rested individuals, as the immune system responds more strongly. Sleep is, in effect, a natural medicine cabinet that restores resilience against disease. A good night's rest is not merely about feeling refreshed, it is a frontline defense against sickness. Fact 49. Lucid dreaming, the phenomenon of realizing one is dreaming while inside a dream, offers a fascinating window into human consciousness. Lucid dreamers can sometimes influence dream content, turning nightmares into adventures or practicing real-life skills in a safe dream world. Scientific studies using eye movement signals from lucid dreamers confirm the phenomenon, showing communication between dreamers and researchers across the boundary of sleep. Some use lucid dreaming for creative inspiration, while others use it to confront fears. Although not everyone experiences it naturally, techniques such as reality checks, dream journaling, and meditation can increase the likelihood. Lucid dreaming blurs the line between imagination and reality, making sleep not just restorative, but an extraordinary inner playground. Fact 50. The relationship between sleep and creativity is profound, with history full of examples of ideas born in dreams. Paul McCartney dreamed the melody for Yesterday. Dmitri Mendeleev saw the periodic table in a dream, and Mary Shelley conceived Frankenstein after a vivid nightmare. Sleep allows the brain to connect distant ideas in ways waking logic often cannot, leading to surprising insights. REM sleep, in particular, fosters this associative thinking, stitching fragments of memory, emotion, and imagination into novel patterns. This creative boost explains why artists, writers, and inventors often keep notebooks by their bedsides to capture flashes of inspiration before they fade. With the morning light, dream-inspired creativity is a testament to how rest not only restores, but also expands human potential. Fact 51. Sleep plays an essential role in emotional regulation, acting as a quiet therapist for the mind each night. When the body enters deep sleep, the brain processes emotional experiences, reduces the intensity of stress hormones, and helps reset mood for the following day. This is why, after a night of poor rest, small inconveniences can feel overwhelming, while after deep, restorative sleep, challenges appear more manageable. REM sleep in particular allows the brain to revisit emotionally charged memories and strip away some of their sharp edges, making them easier to handle. Neuroscientists often describe sleep as overnight therapy because it gently reshapes raw emotion into balanced perspective without conscious effort. Fact 52. Dreams often carry symbolic elements, yet interpreting them has fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were messages from the gods. Greeks saw them as prophetic visions, and in modern psychology, figures like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung explored them as windows into the unconscious. While science now views dreams less as hidden codes and more as reflections of memory, emotion, and imagination, their symbolic nature still resonates. A dream about falling, for instance, might connect to anxiety or lack of control, while flying often links to freedom or ambition, though no universal dictionary of dream symbols exists. Paying attention to recurring themes in one's own dreams can reveal subtle emotional patterns that waking thought might ignore. Fact 53. Sleep spindles. Brief bursts of brain activity, that occur during stage 2 sleep play a key role in consolidating learning. These rapid oscillations, lasting less than 2 seconds, act like flashes of communication between different brain regions. They help transfer short-term memories from the hippocampus to the neocortex, embedding them into long-term storage. Students who get proper sleep after studying consistently perform better than those who stay awake, because sleep spindles reinforce knowledge. Musicians, athletes, and language learners also benefit from these tiny bursts of neural activity, which essentially rehearse new skills overnight. Without enough stage to sleep, much of what was learned during the day risks slipping away. Fact 54. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is one of the most curious parasomnias, blending elements of sleep and wakefulness. Sleepwalkers may rise from bed, perform routine tasks, or even leave the house, all while remaining largely unconscious. Episodes usually occur during deep non-REM sleep and are more common in children, often fading with age. Though the eyes may be open, awareness is minimal, and memory of the event is typically absent. Contrary to popular myth, it is not dangerous to gently guide a sleepwalker back to bed, though waking them can cause confusion. Research suggests genetics, stress, and irregular sleep schedules increase likelihood, while treatment involves improving sleep hygiene and reducing triggers. Sleepwalking reveals how intricate the boundary between consciousness and unconsciousness can be. Fact 55. Sleep paralysis is another mysterious phenomenon, occurring when the brain awakens during REM sleep while the body remains paralyzed. People experiencing it often describe an inability to move, pressure on the chest, and sometimes vivid hallucinations of shadowy figures. These experiences have fueled folklore across cultures. In Japan, it is called kanashibari. In Newfoundland, the old hag, and in other traditions, demons or spirits were blamed. Science explains it as a temporary overlap between REM paralysis and waking awareness. Though frightening, episodes are generally harmless and last seconds, 2 minutes. Stress, irregular sleep, or disrupted schedules can increase risk, while establishing consistent sleep patterns reduces them. Understanding the biology behind sleep paralysis transforms terror into fascination, showing how delicate the mechanics of sleep truly are. Fact 56. Napping is not merely a luxury but a powerful biological tool that refreshes both the mind and body when used correctly. Short naps of around 20 minutes, sometimes called power naps, can dramatically improve alertness, creativity, and mood, without leaving the grogginess that longer naps may cause. In contrast, a 90-minute nap allows the brain to complete a full sleep cycle, including both deep sleep and REM, providing benefits for memory and problem-solving. Cultures around the world have long recognized the value of midday rest. The siesta in Spain, to riposo in Italy, and even structured nap breaks in modern Japanese workplaces. NASA has studied naps extensively and recommends them to astronauts, as even a short period of sleep can restore cognitive function in demanding environments, while excessive daytime sleep may signal underlying sleep disorders. Intentional and well-timed naps serve as a restorative practice that mirrors the natural biphasic rhythm of human sleep. Fact 57. Circadian rhythms, the internal clocks that guide our daily cycles, regulate more than just sleep. They influence hormone release, digestion, body temperature, and mental sharpness. Governed primarily by the suprachiasmatic nucleus in the brain, circadian rhythms are synchronized to the natural light-dark cycle. When daylight fades, melatonin secretion begins, signaling the body to prepare for rest, while exposure to morning sunlight suppresses melatonin and encourages wakefulness. Jet lag, shift work, or excessive exposure to artificial blue light at night can disrupt these rhythms, leading to fatigue, mood swings, and impaired cognition. Interestingly, not all circadian rhythms run on the exact 24-hour clock. Some individuals, known as night owls, naturally run longer cycles, while morning larks tend towards shorter ones, shaping preferences for when to sleep, eat, or work. Recognizing and aligning with one's chronotype can improve productivity and well-being, demonstrating how closely life is tied to the celestial rhythm of Earth's rotation. Fact 58. Lucid dreaming is a rare and extraordinary state in which the dreamer becomes aware they are dreaming and can sometimes influence the dream-esque events. Lucid dreams typically occur during REM sleep, when the brain is highly active, yet certain regions linked to self-awareness light up unusually strongly. People often describe the sensation as exhilarating, like stepping into a vivid virtual reality where imagination becomes the only limit. For centuries, Tibetan Buddhist practices such as dream yoga cultivated lucidity for spiritual exploration. Today, lucid dreaming attracts interest from psychologists, gamers, and creatives alike, offering opportunities for rehearsing skills, confronting fears, or simply experiencing joy in fantastical scenarios. Techniques to induce lucidity include reality checks during the day, keeping a dream journal, or practicing wake-back-to-bed methods. While not everyone can reliably achieve lucidity, the possibility of becoming conscious inside a dream blurs the boundaries between waking and sleeping realities. Fact 59. Sleep has profound effects on immune function, acting as a nightly shield for the body. During deep sleep, the immune system releases cytokines, proteins that target infection and inflammation. Sleep deprivation reduces these protective molecules, making people more vulnerable to colds, flu, and even slower recovery after vaccinations. Studies show that individuals who sleep fewer than 7 hours are significantly more likely to catch common illnesses than those who sleep 8 or more. Conversely, sufficient rest enhances the production of antibodies and T cells, the immune system's soldiers that track and destroy pathogens. In evolutionary terms, prioritizing sleep may have been as vital to survival as finding food and shelter, because it preserved energy while strengthening the body's defenses. In modern times, with high stress and constant stimulation, respecting sleep as an immune booster becomes an accessible yet often overlooked form of preventive medicine. Fact 60. Dreams do not unfold in real time, as waking experiences do. Instead, they often compress or stretch perception of time in ways that defy ordinary experience. A dream that seems to span days or weeks may actually occur in only minutes of REM activity. Conversely, dreams can replay real events in astonishingly precise detail, almost as though the mind is running a simulation at accelerated speed. Experiments in lucid dream research have even tested this by asking dreamers to perform tasks, like counting or moving their eyes, and comparing perceived time with real-world measures. Results suggest that dream time usually tracks close to waking time, but can occasionally distort dramatically. This flexibility of temporal experience reflects the brain's ability to construct convincing narratives without strict adherence to physical laws. The phenomenon invites philosophical questions. If subjective time can stretch and compress in dreams, how stable is our sense of time in waking life? And how much of reality is simply the brain's interpretation of stimuli? Fact 61. Sleep and memory are intertwined in a way that defines much of human learning and identity. Every night, as the brain cycles through different stages, it engages in processes that consolidate memories, transferring fragile impressions from the day into more stable, long-term storage. During slow-wave sleep, the hippocampus, the brain's memory hub, reactivates patterns of neural activity associated with experiences, essentially replaying the day's events. This replay strengthens connections within the cortex, embedding memories more deeply. Later, during REM sleep, the brain integrates these memories with existing knowledge, weaving them into the broader narrative of self and understanding. That is why people who sleep after studying often recall material more effectively than those who stay awake. Even motor skills, such as learning to play piano or ride a bike, are polished during sleep, as the brain rehearses and refines neural pathways. Deprivation of sleep disrupts these processes, leaving gaps in recall and impairing decision. Without proper rest, the richness of lived experience slips away more easily, and the foundation of learning grows unsteady. Fact 62. Sleep paralysis is one of the most mysterious and unsettling phenomena linked to the border between waking and dreaming. It occurs when the body remains temporarily immobilized during the transition into or out of REM sleep. Normally, REM paralysis of voluntary muscles prevents the sleeper from physically acting out dreams. However, in sleep paralysis, consciousness awakens before the body regains mobility, leaving the person trapped in a state of awareness without control. This experience can last seconds, 2 minutes, but often feels much longer. Many report hallucinations during paralysis, such as sensing a presence in the room, feeling pressure on the chest, or seeing shadowy figures. Cultures worldwide have developed myths to explain these encounters. In Japan, it was once attributed to a vengeful spirit called the kana. In Europe, to night hag sitting on the chest. And in Newfoundland, to the old hag legend. While science explains sleep paralysis as a benign misalignment between REM and waking states, the visceral fear it generates demonstrates the power of the dreaming brain to project vivid illusions. Techniques such as improving sleep hygiene, reducing stress, or adjusting sleep schedules can decrease its occurrence. Yet the phenomenon continues to intrigue and unsettle both reefs. Fact 63. The architecture of sleep, though seemingly simple, is a complex cycle that repeats multiple times throughout the night. Each cycle lasts approximately 90 minutes and includes light sleep, deep sleep, and REM. Light sleep acts as the gateway, easing the mind and body into restorative phases. Deep sleep, characterized by slow delta waves, is when tissue repair occurs, growth hormones are released, and energy reserves are replenished. REM sleep, by contrast, is paradoxical. The brain becomes highly active, resembling wakefulness. Bile-guresque. This is the stage most strongly associated with vivid dreams. Across a typical night, humans experience 4 to 6 cycles, with the proportion of REM increasing in the later hours. This is why waking up too early often robs people of their most intense dreams. Understanding this architecture explains why both quantity and timing of sleep matter. Someone sleeping for 6 hours might miss crucial REM phases, whereas another sleeping irregularly may interrupt cycles and diminish restorative benefits. Sleep architecture shifts with age, too. Infants spend about half their sleep in REM, supporting rapid brain development, while older adults experience lighter, more fragmented sleep. The patterns reveal that sleep is not static, but dynamic, an intricate rhythm essential to health and consciousness. Fact 64. Dreams often draw on fragments of waking life, yet they recombine them in strange and sometimes surreal ways. Psychologists call this the day residue effect, where elements from recent experiences, faces, places, conversations appear in dreams, though rarely in literal form. For example, someone who spends time studying in a library may dream of wandering through endless shelves, but with shifting architecture that defies logic. This reflects how the brain sifts through sensory and emotional input, extracting pieces and stitching them into symbolic narratives. Research also highlights the dream lag effect, in which events from several days earlier reappear in dreams, suggesting that memory processing unfolds across multiple nights. Emotional intensity increases the likelihood of experiences being incorporated. A heated argument, a joyful celebration, or a frightening encounter may echo through dreams more than mundane details. Dreams thereby serve as a mirror of the subconscious. Not exact recordings, but collages that blend memory, imagination, and emotion. While early theories by Freud and Jung emphasized hidden meanings, modern neuroscience sees dreams as both functional and creative, helping the brain test scenarios, regulate emotions, and prepare for challenges. Fact 65. Sleep is deeply connected to creativity, often acting as an incubator for ideas and insights that elude the waking mind. Many famous breakthroughs owe their origin to dreams or hypnagogic states, those fleeting moments between wakefulness and sleep. The chemist August dreamed of a snake biting its own tail, leading him to conceive the ring structure of Ben. Paul McCartney reportedly composed a melody of Yesterday after hearing it in a dream. Even Thomas Edison and Salvador intentionally napped with objects in their hands, allowing the sudden clatter of dropping them to wake them during hypnagogia. Capturing the strange, fertile imagery of their minds. Science supports this connection. REM sleep enhances associative thinking, enabling the brain to connect distant ideas and generate novel solutions. During deep sleep, memory consolidation frees up cognitive resources, making space for innovation. Creativity thrives on the interplay of order and chaos, and sleep provides the perfect balance, structuring memories while unleashing imagination. For those seeking inspiration, prioritizing restful sleep is as crucial as deliberate effort, because the sleeping brain continues working, often more freely than during the constraints of wakeful logic. Fact 66. The relationship between sleep and emotional regulation is one of the most fascinating discoveries of modern neuroscience, highlighting how nightly rest serves as therapy for the mind. During REM sleep, the amygdala, a key region for processing emotions, such as fear and anger, becomes highly active, while stress-related neurochemicals, like norepinephrine, are suppressed. This unusual chemical environment allows the brain to reprocess emotional experiences without the same intensity of stress, essentially giving the mind a safe space to revisit difficult memories and soften their sting. When someone is sleep-deprived, emotions become less stable, irritability increases, and the ability to manage stress plummets. Research shows that even a single night of poor sleep heightens reactivity in the amygdala by up to 60%, making challenges feel overwhelming. On the other hand, consistent restful sleep strengthens the connection between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making part of the brain, allowing individuals to respond to emotional events with greater balance. This natural overnight therapy demonstrates why people often feel better after a good night's sleep, because the brain has literally rebalanced itself. Fact 67. The phenomenon of dreaming in color, or black and white, reflects both personal history and cultural change. Before the widespread adoption of color television, studies found that many people reported dreaming in shades of gray, as though the medium of daily visual experience influenced the content of dreams. With the prevalence of color media, colorful dreams became the norm again. Still, not everyone experiences vivid huesome recall, muted or pastel tones, while others describe dreamscapes bursting with impossible colors beyond waking comprehension. The neural mechanisms behind this lie in the brain's visual cortex, which remains active during REM sleep, drawing on stored visual memory. Emotional significance can amplify color intensity. For example, a red dress or blue sky may appear more striking when tied to strong feelings. Interestingly, people who are blind from birth report dreams filled with sounds, smells, touch, and emotions, demonstrating that dreams adapt to sensory experience. Whether monochrome or rainbow, dreams reveal the extraordinary flexibility of the mind in constructing its inner worlds. Fact 68. Throughout history, humans have sought to interpret dreams as messages, omens, or glimpses into other realms. Ancient Mesopotamians recorded dream omens on clay tablets, believing that God spoke through symbolic visions. In ancient Egypt, dream interpreters were respected figures who offered guidance based on recurring dream symbols, and temples dedicated to the god Serapis welcomed seekers hoping for revelatory dreams during ritual sleep. In Greece, dreams were thought to originate either from the divine, bringing wisdom, or from internal disturbances, reflecting bodily imbalances. Aristotle proposed that dreams revealed hidden truths about physical health. Across cultures, dreams became both mystical and practical, inspiring decisions in war, politics, and medicine. Though modern science views dreams primarily as brain activity, the enduring fascination with dream meaning underscores a universal desire to find coherence in the subconscious. The field of neurology, the scientific study of dreams, continues to explore these questions, blending ancient wonder with neuroscience. Dreams remain at the crossroads of mystery and discovery, reminding us that even in sleep, the human mind seeks meaning. Fact 69. The link between sleep and longevity cannot be overstated, as consistent rest profoundly influences health span and lifespan. People who maintain regular sleep patterns of 7 to 9 hours often show reduced risk of chronic illnesses such as heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. Sleep regulates blood pressure, reduces inflammation, balances blood sugar, and supports hormonal equilibrium. Conversely, chronic sleep deprivation has been associated with shorter telomeres, the protective caps on chromosomes, that are markers of biological aging. Longitudinal studies suggest that insufficient sleep may accelerate the aging process by weakening cellular repair mechanisms. Interestingly, oversleeping regularly, more than 9 or 10 hours, has also been linked to health risks, often reflecting underlying conditions rather than sleep itself. The balance is delicate. Sleep is like the silent architect of longevity, working each night to restore systems, repair tissues, and regulate metabolism. Cultivating consistent routines, aligning sleep with natural circadian rhythms, and creating restful environments can all contribute to longer, healthier lives. In this sense, every night of restful sleep becomes an investment in the future self. Fact 70. The shared human experience of dreaming raises profound philosophical questions about reality itself. In a dream, the brain constructs entire world's landscapes, characters, emotions, and even the perception of time without external input. These dreamscapes feel real while experienced, and only upon waking do we recognize their illusory nature. This has led thinkers across ages to wonder if the brain can generate convincing realities in sleep. How can we be certain that waking life is not also a kind of dream? The Chinese philosopher Zhuangzi famously told the story of dreaming he was a butterfly, only to awaken and question whether he was truly Zhuangzi dreaming of being a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming of being Zhuangzi. Modern neuroscience does not resolve this paradox, but it emphasizes how perception is always a construction of the mind, filtering and interpreting sensory input. Dreams demonstrate that the brain does not require external stimuli to create reality-like experiences. It can conjure them internally. This recognition ties into simulation theories and philosophical explorations of consciousness, suggesting that the boundaries between dream and waking life may be thinner than we imagine. The gentle drift from one state to the other each night reminds us that certainty about reality is fragile. And perhaps, like dreams, life is a narrative woven by the mind. Fact 71. Sleep has a profound influence on physical performance, a truth recognized not only by athletes but by anyone who has experienced fatigue after a restless night. During sleep, muscles repair microscopic damage caused by daily exertion. Growth hormone is released, and energy reserves are replenished in the form of glycogen. For athletes, even small changes in sleep duration can make measurable differences in speed, accuracy, and endurance. Studies on basketball players, for instance, found that those who extended their sleep improved free throw accuracy and sprint times. Sleep deprivation, on the other hand, slows reaction time, reduces coordination, and increases the risk of injury, as the body's ability to recover is diminished. The synchronization of body temperature, hormone cycles, and circadian rhythms also ensures peak performance at certain times of day, which is why some athletes tailor training to their chronotype. More broadly, sleep is not just a passive state, but an active process where the body builds strength and resilience, demonstrating that physical vitality depends as much on quality rest as it does on exertion. Fact 72. The phenomenon of dreams that anticipate future events, often called precognitive dreams, has intrigued cultures for millennia. While science remains skeptical, countless anecdotal reports describe individuals dreaming of situations that later unfolded in waking life, from mundane encounters to significant events. Famous examples include Abraham Lincoln's reported dream of his own assassination, or people who foresaw natural disasters in symbolic dream imagery. Neuroscience often explains these experiences as coincidences, selective memory, or the brain's ability to unconsciously notice subtle cues and then express them symbolically in dreams. Yet the persistence of these accounts across history and cultures keeps the mystery alive. For those who experience them, precognitive dreams often feel deeply meaningful, blurring the boundary between subconscious intuition and supernatural insight, whether literal glimpses of the future or reflections of hidden awareness. Such dreams remind us of the mind's uncanny ability to surprise, leaving space for wonder in an age dominated by science. Fact 73. The stages of sleep shift dramatically across the human lifespan, painting a picture of how rest evolves with age. Newborns spend up to 16 hours a day sleeping, half of it in REM, a state thought to support rapid brain development. As children grow, sleep becomes more consolidated at night, though naps still play a crucial role in learning and emotional balance. Adolescents experience a natural shift toward later sleep and wake times, a chronotype mismatch that often clashes with early school schedules. contributing to widespread sleep deprivation among teenagers. In adulthood, most people require 7 to 9 hours, though societal demands often compress rest. As people reach older age, sleep becomes lighter, with more frequent awakenings and less deep sleep. This can lead to feelings of insufficient rest, even when total sleep time remains adequate. Understanding these shifts reveals why normal sleep is not static, but adapts with developmental needs, emphasizing the importance of adjusting routines and expectations across life stages. Fact 74. Dreams often feature recurring themes that reflect universal aspects of human psychology. Being chassette, falling, flying, or appearing unprepared for an exam are some of the most common dream motifs across cultures. Psychologists interpret these not as literal predictions, but as symbolic representations of anxiety, desire, or transition. For example, falling may symbolize a loss of control, while flying can reflect liberation or ambition. Recurring dreams, in particular, often signal unresolved emotions or persistent concerns, replaying until the underlying issue is addressed in waking life. Yet recurring dreams are not always distressing. Some provide comfort, such as revisiting childhood homes or deceased loved ones. The brain's tendency to return to familiar imagery may arise from its efficiency in reusing neural patterns, much like rewatching a familiar movie. These shared dream symbols demonstrate that, beneath cultural differences, human minds grapple with similar fears and hopes, weaving them into nightly narratives. Fact 75. Sleep itself has long been viewed as a borderland between life and death, consciousness and unconsciousness, inspiring myths and philosophies throughout history. In Greek mythology, Hypnos, the god of sleep, was the twin brother of Thanatos, the god of death, underscoring their close association. Ancient peoples often saw sleep as a temporary death, a surrender of awareness that hinted at the mysteries of mortality. In Lytrish, Shakespeare referred to sleep as the death of each day's life, while in spiritual traditions, dreams were sometimes seen as journeys of the soul into other realms. Modern science distinguishes sleep sharply from death, highlighting its restorative functions and active brain states. Yet the metaphor endures because of the eerie stillness and vulnerability of slumber. The nightly cycle of surrender and awakening mirrors the larger cycle of existence, making sleep not only a biological necessity but also a profound reminder of life as fragility and renewal. Fact 76. The connection between sleep and creativity has fascinated researchers and artists alike for centuries, and many breakthroughs in science, art, and literature are attributed to dreams or the peculiar mental state that follows deep rest. During REM sleep, the brain exhibits heightened activity in regions linked to imagination and association, while logical constraints relax, allowing novel connections to surface. Paul McCartney famously said the melody for Yesterday came to him in a dream, while the chemist August envisioned the structure of benzene after dreaming of a snake biting its own tail. This phenomenon is not limited to artistic pursuits. Engineers, mathematicians, and inventors have reported insights after sleep or dreams, where the subconscious reorganized information into unexpected patterns. Experiments demonstrate that individuals who nap after learning are more likely to solve creative puzzles than those who stay awake, suggesting sleep fosters insight by incubating ideas below the threshold of awareness. Creativity is often imagined as a spark, but perhaps it is more like a seed that germinates in the fertile soil of the dreaming mind, nourished by rest. Fact 77. Insomnia, one of the most common sleep disorders, affects millions of people worldwide and illustrates how fragile the balance of sleep truly is, defined as difficulty falling asleep, staying asleep, or waking too early. Insomnia can be acute, triggered by stress or environmental changes, or chronic, persisting for months or even years. Beyond fatigue, insomnia impairs memory, mood, and immune function, creating a cycle where worry about sleep itself exacerbates the condition. Cultural factors play a role, too. Societies that glorify productivity often create environments where people sacrifice rest for work, only to find themselves unable to switch off when bedtime arrives. Treatments vary from cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which teaches strategies to break negative thought loops, to mindfulness practices, which calm the nervous system. Pharmacological aids exist, but often carry risks of dependence or reduced sleep quality. Insomnia reminds us that sleep is not a guarantee, but a delicate dance of body and mind, vulnerable to disruption by stress, habits, or environment, and yet essential for well-being. Fact 78. The role of dreams in emotional regulation is one of the most profound discoveries of modern sleep science. During REM sleep, the amygdala area of the brain involved in fear and emotional processing remains highly active, while stress-related chemicals like norepinephrine drop to low levels. This combination allows the brain to replay emotionally charged experiences in a calmer context, essentially reprocessing feelings without the full intensity of waking stress. It is why, after a painful day, sleeping on it often softens the sting. Dreams act as a kind of overnight therapy, integrating experiences into memory while reducing their emotional charge. Studies on trauma patients show that nightmares, though de-stressing, may reflect the brain's attempt to work through overwhelming emotions, and treatments that restore healthy REM sleep can alleviate symptoms of PTSD. The connection between dreaming, healing highlights that sleep is not simply rest for the body, but a laboratory for the psyche, where emotions are sorted, softened, and reshaped into narratives that help us carry on. Fact 79. Narcolepsy, though rare, reveals just how complex and finely tuned the sleep system is. People with narcolepsy experience overwhelming daytime sleepiness and sudden, uncontrollable sleep episodes, sometimes collapsing mid-conversation or during activities. Many also suffer from cataplexy, a sudden loss of muscle control triggered by strong emotions like laughter or surprise, reflecting a misfiring of REM sleep paralysis into waking life. Narcolepsy is linked to a deficiency of hypocretin, a neurochemical that stabilizes wakefulness, though genetics and autoimmune factors also play roles. The condition can profoundly affect daily life, as individuals struggle with unpredictability and stigma, yet treatments like scheduled naps, medications that promote wakefulness, and lifestyle adjustments offer relief. Despite the challenges, people with narcolepsy demonstrate resilience, reminding us that sleep is not only vital, but also fragile, requiring intricate neurochemical choreography to maintain balance. Their experiences deepen our appreciation of the invisible systems that allow most of us to drift naturally between night and day. Fact 80. Lucid dreaming, the state in which dreamers become aware they are dreaming and may exert control over the dream narrative, bridges the gap between unconscious and conscious experience in fascinating ways. Recorded in ancient Buddhist texts and explored in modern laboratories, lucid dreaming occurs most often during REM, when the dreaming brain shows activity patterns similar to waking, but with reduced sensory input. Practitioners report being able to fly, change dream scenery, or interact intentionally with dream characters, making it both a playground of imagination and a potential tool for self. Scientists have verified lucidity by training dreamers to signal with eye movements during sleep, proving conscious awareness within dreams is possible. Beyond its wonder, lucid dreaming has therapeutic applications. It can help reduce recurring nightmares, encourage problem solving, or enhance creativity. Techniques to induce lucidity, such as reality checks, keeping dream journals, or practicing meditation, reflect the human desire to explore inner worlds as vividly as outer ones. Lucid dreaming blurs boundaries not just between sleeping and waking, but between passive experience and active authorship of the mind's nightly stories, suggesting consciousness itself is more fluid than we often assume. Fact 81. The relationship between sleep and aging has long intrigued scientists, philosophers, and healers, because the way we rest changes dramatically over the course of a lifetime. Infants spend up to 16 hours a day asleep, much of it in REM, as their developing brains use this state to forge neural pathways and consolidate vast amounts of new information. Adolescents often experience a shift in circadian rhythms, preferring later bedtimes and waking hours, which sometimes conflicts with school schedules and creates the stereotype of teenagers who sleep in. As Sadul-Sahay's sleep architecture shifts again, deep slow-wave sleep becomes less abundant, awakenings more frequent, and overall time spent sleeping often diminishes. These changes are not merely inconveniences. but reflect physiological alterations in the brain's sleep-regulating systems. Elderly individuals sometimes report lighter sleep, more vivid dreams, or daytime fatigue, which can be exacerbated by health conditions or medications. Yet cultivating healthy habits, such as exposure to morning sunlight, consistent routines, and physical activity can help preserve restorative rest, even in advanced age. The story of aging in sleep is not one of inevitable decline, but of adaptation, where the rhythms of night and day shift like tides across the lifespan, shaping memory, mood, and resilience. Fact 82. Sleep paralysis is among the most mysterious and unsettling sleep phenomena, occurring when a person becomes aware while transitioning between sleep and wakefulness, but remains unable to move. During REM sleep, the body naturally undergoes temporary muscle paralysis to prevent physical enactment of dreams, a protective mechanism. In sleep paralysis, however, consciousness returns before this paralysis lifts, leaving the individual awake but immobilized. Many also experience hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucinations, shadowy figures in the room, a crushing weight on the chest, or strange sounds which historically gave rise to folklore about night demons, witches, or spirits pressing upon sleepers. Cultures worldwide have mythologies tied to this phenomenon. In Japan, it is called kanosha. In Newfoundland, the old hag is said to sit upon the chest of the afflicted. Though terrifying, sleep paralysis is usually harmless, often linked to irregular sleep patterns, stress, or narcolepsy. Understanding the neurobiologist-aligned REM cycles and partial arousal of the brain can help demystify the experience. Yet even with scientific explanation, the visceral fear lingers, a reminder of how fragile the border between dream and waking can feel when the body's natural rhythms misfire. Fact 83. Dreams have long been regarded as prophetic or mystical, offering glimpses into hidden truths or the future. Ancient Mesopotamian cultures recorded dream omens on clay tablets, while Egyptian priests acted as interpreters, guiding rulers based on symbolic visions. In the Bible and other sacred texts, dreams often serve as divine messages, shaping destinies and decisions. Indigenous cultures across the world have rich traditions of dream work, treating dreams as journeys of the soul or communications with ancestors. While modern science frames dreams as neurocognitive processes rather than supernatural events, the symbolic language of dreams continues to fascinate. Psychologists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung sought to decode this inner theater, suggesting dreams reveal unconscious desires or archetypal patterns. Regardless of interpretation, dreams hold emotional truth. They condense fears, hopes, and conflicts into imagery that resonates with dreamers across time and culture. The persistence of dream interpretation in human societies underscores a universal intuition that what happens in the silent hours of sleep is meaningful, connecting us to mysteries larger than ourselves. Whether seen as divine messages or psychological mirrors, dreams occupy a liminal space where inner and outer worlds meet, shaping human imagination through millennia. Fact 84. The glymphatic system, a relatively recent discovery, reveals one of the brain's most fascinating nighttime functions. Cleaning itself. While the body sleeps, cerebrospinal fluid flows through channels surrounding blood vessels, flushing out metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours, including beta-amyloid, a protein linked to Alzheimer's disease. This cleansing process is especially active during deep slow-wave sleep, when neurons shrink slightly, allowing fluid to wash more freely through brain tissue. The glymphatic system's discovery transformed our understanding of why sleep is so essential, not merely for memory and energy, but for literal cellular hygiene. The idea that the brain has its own cleaning crew working the night shift is both poetic and practical. A reminder that rest is not idle but profoundly active. Sleep deprivation disrupts this cleansing, leaving residues that may contribute to long-term cognitive decline. The revelation underscores why restorative rest is as crucial as nutrition or exercise for maintaining health across a lifetime. In a way, the sleeping brain resembles a city shutting down traffic at night to allow sanitation crews to clear the streets and invisible maintenance service without which life would grind to dysfunction. Fact 85. One of the most enchanting aspects of sleep research is the discovery that animals across the biological spectrum, from mammals to birds to even some marine creatures, experience dreams or dreamlike states. Dogs twitch their paws and whimper in REM, suggesting they replay hunting or play scenarios. Birds, studied through brain activity, exhibit REM-like phases in which they may be rehearsing songs. Octopuses display color changes and body movements in sleep cycles, hinting at complex inner worlds beneath the ocean's surface. Elephants, with their vast memories, sleep fewer hours, but may experience intense REM during short bursts, while dolphins, fascinatingly, sleep with one hemisphere of their brain at a time to stay alert to predators and breathe consciously. These discoveries expand the meaning of dreams beyond humanity, hinting that consciousness and imagination may not be uniquely human, but shared across the tree of life. When we watch a sleeping cat's whiskers twitch or a puppy miss a pause paddle, we glimpse a continuum of inner experience, where sleep not only restores the body but generates nocturnal theaters of rehearsal, memory, and perhaps even fantasy. The idea that countless creatures drift each night into realms of dream we can not fully fathom connects us to a larger biosphere of mystery, where sleep is both a necessity and a shared adventure of life on Earth. With their vast memories, sleep fewer hours, but may experience intense REM during short bursts, while dolphins, fascinatingly, sleep with one hemisphere of their brain at a time to stay alert to predators and breathe consciously. These discoveries expand the meaning of dreams beyond humanity, hinting that consciousness and imagination may not be uniquely human, but shared across the tree of life. When we watch a sleeping cat's whiskers twitch or a puppy miss a pause paddle, we glimpse a continuum of inner experience, where sleep not only restores the body but generates nocturnal theaters of rehearsal, memory, and perhaps even fantasy. The idea that countless creatures drift each night into realms of dream we cannot fully fathom connects us to a larger biosphere of mystery, where sleep is both a necessity and a shared adventure of life on Earth. Fact 86. The connection between sleep and creativity is one of the most fascinating areas of study, suggesting that slumber is not just a passive state, but an active incubator of innovation. History is filled with stories of breakthroughs born in dreams. Paul McCartney reportedly composed the melody of Yesterday after hearing it in a dream. Dmitri Mendeleev claimed the periodic table structure came to him while sleeping, and Elias Howe credited a dream with inspiring the design of the sewing machine needle. What happens in the brain during REM sleep seems to allow the forging of unusual connections, breaking conventional logic and blending disparate ideas into novel forms. Neuroimaging studies reveal that during REM, associative regions of the brain light up, while the rational prefrontal cortex quiets down, giving freer rein to imagination. This suspension of rigid control fosters the aha moment when unrelated thoughts fuse into solutions. Artists, scientists, and inventors alike have tapped into this nocturnal workshop of the mind. Even daydreaming shares this function, but the immersive theater of REM provides a particularly fertile playground. In a sense, creativity flourishes when we surrender, allowing the subconscious to remix experiences into unexpected patterns. Far from being wasted time, sleep fuels the very innovations that push humanity forward. Fact 87. Lucid dreaming. The phenomenon where dreamers become aware that they are dreaming and can sometimes influence the dream's course, blurs the line between fantasy and volition. Ancient texts, from Tibetan Buddhist dream yoga to Aristotelian philosophy, mention practices of cultivating awareness within dreams. In modern science, lucid dreaming has been confirmed by experiments where dreamers signal with prearranged eye movements while asleep. The allure of lucid dreaming lies in its potential. Flying across landscapes, conversing with dream characters, rehearsing skills, or even confronting fears in safe environments. Psychologists have explored its therapeutic potential for recurring nightmares, particularly in trauma survivors. Induction techniques like reality checks during the day, mnemonic affirmations before sleep, or wake-back methods offer gateways into lucidity. Yet, it is not without challenges. Too much awareness can destabilize the dream, waking the sleeper. Lucid dreaming reveals the incredible malleability of consciousness, showing that even in states of deep sleep, the mind can awaken within itself, crafting realities that feel vivid, immersive, and strangely real. This blending of control and surrender makes it one of the most enchanting aspects of human inner life, offering a glimpse of how boundless the dreaming mind truly is. Fact 88. Sleep and immunity share a profound and delicate relationship, underscoring why consistent rest is essential for health. When the body is deprived of sleep, immune defenses weaken. Production of cytokines, proteins that fight infection and inflammation, decreases, while stress hormones like cortisol rise, undermining resistance. Studies show that people who sleep fewer than 7 hours a night are more likely to catch colds after exposure to viruses compared to those with 8 or more hours of rest. Vaccination responses also improve when individuals are well rested, suggesting that sleep plays a role in immune memory. During deep non-REM sleep, the body releases growth hormone and strengthens adaptive immune responses, giving cells the restorative environment they need. This connection makes evolutionary sense. When injured or ill, animals instinctively sleep more, conserving energy for healing. On the flip side, chronic sleep disruption contributes to long-term health problems, heart disease, diabetes, and impaired cognitive resilience, all tied to inflammation. To think of sleep as medicine is not an exaggeration. It is perhaps the most natural and accessible prescription for wellness. When our bodies evolve to demand every single night. Fact 89. The architecture of sleep, its stages and cycles unfolds in a pattern as structured as a symphony, with rhythms repeating every 90 minutes. Stage 1 eases the body from wakefulness to light slumber, marked by drifting thoughts and muscle relaxation. Stage 2 deepens this entry, characterized by sleep spindles and K-complexes and brain waves, believed to shield the mind from waking. Stage 3, or slow-wave sleep, is the deep, restorative state where growth, repair, and memory consolidation occur. Then comes REM sleep, the stage of rapid eye movements, vivid dreams, and heightened brain activity, akin to waking consciousness. Over the course of a night, these cycles repeat 4 to 6 times, with early sleep dominated by deep slow-wave stages, and later hours filled with longer REM episodes. Disruption of this architecture through stress, screens, or irregular schedules robs the body of essential phases, leaving the sleeper unrefreshed. Understanding sleep structure highlights why duration alone is not enough. Quality matters just as deeply. Just as skipping the finale of a symphony leaves the music unresolved, cutting short a night, as sleep denies the body the full arc of restoration and creativity woven into its cycles. Fact 90. The future of sleep science is unfolding at the intersection of neuroscience, technology, and wellness, promising both opportunities and ethical questions. Devices already track sleep stages, heart rate, and breathing patterns, offering data once available only in laboratories. Researchers are exploring methods to stimulate deep sleep through gentle auditory tones or light pulses, potentially enhancing memory consolidation or brain health. Wearable technology may one day detect early markers of disease through sleep patterns, turning beds into diagnostic tools. On another frontier, scientists investigate targeted dream incubation, guiding dream content with sounds or quests to harness dreams for problem-solving, therapy, or even entertainment. Yet, with these advancements comes the risk of commodifying rest, turning a deeply natural process into something engineered and monetized. The paradox of our age is that we need technology to remind us of rhythms our ancestors respected instinctively. As science deepens our grasp of sleep, the challenge will be balancing intervention with preservation, honoring sleep as both a biological necessity and a sacred refuge for the mind. The horizon of sleep research gleams with possibility, inviting us to imagine futures where dreams themselves become part of conscious exploration. Fact 91. The link between sleep and memory is one of the most deeply studied aspects of neuroscience, and it reveals just how profoundly our nights shape our days. When we learn something new, a skill, a piece of information, or even an emotional lesson, our brains do not simply store it like a file. Instead, memories are fragile, like wet clay, needing time to harden into lasting impressions. This process, called consolidation, occurs primarily during sleep. Different stages of sleep contribute to different types of memory. Slow-wave sleep strengthens declarative memory, such as facts and concepts, while REM sleep enhances procedural memory and creativity. Experiments with students have shown that those who sleep after studying recall material better than those who stay awake. Even a short nap can boost performance, because sleep acts as a biological editor, reinforcing important details while pruning away less relevant noise. In this sense, every night is a rehearsal, where the brain sifts through the day's experiences, weaving them into the grand narrative of the self. Without sufficient sleep, memories fade like ink left in the rain, and the continuity of our lives becomes blurred. Fact 92. Jet lag, the traveler's curse, demonstrates how finely tuned our bodies are to the natural cycles of light and darkness. When we cross multiple time zones, the body's internal clock, or circadian rhythm, falls out of sync with the new environment. The result is fatigue, irritability, digestive upset, and a disorienting sense of being out of time. The suprachiasmatic nucleus in the hypothalamus, often called the master clock, governs daily rhythms through signals triggered by light exposure. When these cues no longer match external reality, the clock struggles to adjust. Eastward travel, requiring an advance in the sleep-wake cycle, is typically harder to adapt to than westward travel, which simply extends the day. Remedies range from strategic light exposure and melatonin supplements to gradual adjustment of schedules. Before departure, for astronauts orbiting Earth, where the sun rises and sets 16 times a day, managing circadian alignment is even more complex, relying heavily on carefully timed lighting systems. Jet lag reveals that our sense of time is not only cultural but biological, embedded in every cell of the body. Sleep, in this context, is the thread that ties us to Earth's rotation, reminding us that no matter how fast we travel, our bodies still move to the rhythm of the sun and stars. Fact 93. Insomnia, one of the most common sleep disorders, illustrates the paradox of sleep. The harder we chase it, the more it eludes us. Millions worldwide struggle with the inability to fall asleep, stay asleep, or wake refreshed. Insomnia can be transient, tied to stress or change, or chronic, lasting months or years. Beyond fatigue, it carries profound consequences. Mood disturbances, impaired concentration, weakened immunity, and heightened risk of long-term illness. Treatments, very cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia (CBTI) has emerged as the gold standard, teaching patients to change thought patterns and habits that perpetuate sleeplessness. Sleep hygiene practices consistent schedules, reduce screen time. Calming rituals lay a foundation, but the mind's restlessness often requires deeper reorientation. Unlike simply taking a pill, healing insomnia involves rewiring the relationship with rest, learning to trust the body's natural capacity for sleep rather than forcing it. The cultural obsession with productivity worsens the issue, as people sacrifice sleep to gain time, only to lose far more in health and vitality. Insomnia thus becomes both a medical and cultural condition, revealing how deeply sleep is woven into every aspect of human flourishing. Fact 94. Dreams do not just occur in isolation. They can be shared in patterns across individuals, cultures, and even ERAs, reflecting collective concerns and archetypes. Carl Jung introduced the idea of the collective unconscious, where certain symbols, water, shadows, animals, journeys appear universally, hinting at shared human experiences. Modern studies of dream databases reveal that while dreams are highly personal, they also reflect cultural preoccupations. In societies facing conflict, themes of danger and pursuit dominate. In peaceful times, dreams more often involve social interactions or exploration. Shared traumatic events, such as natural disasters or global crises, often spark waves of similar dreams across populations. The COVID-19 pandemic, for example, led to reports of vivid, unusual dreams, filled with themes of confinement, contagion, or surreal transformations, suggesting that sleep absorbed and processed collective anxiety. These shared dreams show how sleep serves not just the individual but the community, providing a kind of psychic mirror to the concerns of the age. In this sense, dreams are not only private messages, but cultural artifacts, shaped by the currents of history and society, binding us together in invisible nocturnal dialogues. Fact 95. The cultural rituals surrounding sleep remind us that rest is not merely biological, but profoundly social and symbolic. From ancient Egypt's elaborate beds adorned with sacred symbols to the Japanese tradition of sleeping on tatami mats, the way people prepare for rest reflects values and beliefs. In some indigenous cultures, dream catchers are hung above sleeping places to filter nightmares, symbolizing the protective role of sleep in community life. In Mediterranean countries, siestas embody a cultural embrace of midday rest, aligning human activity with the heat of the environment. Meanwhile, in many modern societies, the ideal of constant productivity has eroded the sanctity of rest, making sleep deprivation a badge of honor. Yet sleep rituals persist. Bedtime stories passed to children, prayers whispered before lying down, herbal teas brewed to invite slumber. These practices show that sleep is not only about neurons firing, but about meaning how we transition from wakefulness to surrender, from the known to the unknown. They remind us that the act of closing one's eyes is as cultural as it is biological, shaped by centuries of tradition and imagination. Fact 96. Sleepwalking, or somnambulism, is one of the most curious disorders of sleep, straddling the boundary between unconsciousness and wakeful activity. Unlike the popular image of a zombie-like wanderer, most sleepwalkers perform relatively simple actions, walking through hallways, moving objects, or mumbling incoherently. But in extreme cases, individuals have driven cars, cooked meals, or even attempted artistic tasks, all while technically asleep. Sleepwalking occurs during deep, non-REM sleep, usually in the first third of the night, when the brain's motor systems partially activate without conscious awareness. It is more common in children, often fading with age, but can persist into adulthood, especially under stress or sleep deprivation. While often harmless, it can be dangerous if the sleepwalker encounters stairs, streets, or sharp objects. Families sometimes create safety measures, locking doors, removing hazards, or gently guiding the sleeper back to bed. Myths once cast sleepwalkers as possessed or bewitched, reflecting humanity's fascination with this twilight state. In reality, it highlights the fragmented nature of consciousness, where parts of the brain can awaken while others remain in slumber, allowing actions without memory or intent. The mystery of sleepwalking reminds us that sleep is not a monolithic state, but a spectrum, with surprising intersections between dreaming, movement, and awareness. Fact 97. Nightmares, the darker cousins of ordinary dreams, serve as both torment and teacher. Defined by their distressing emotional tone, nightmares often jolt the dreamer awake, heart racing, drenched in adrenaline. They frequently occur during REM sleep, where vivid imagery and intense emotions intertwine. For children, nightmares may be common and developmentally normal, reflecting their growing understanding of fear and safety. For adults, persistent nightmares can signal underlying stress, trauma, or psychological struggle. In many cultures, nightmares were once attributed to evil spirits or demonic visitations. The very word nightmare traces to the Old English mare, meaning a goblin or oppressive being. Modern science instead sees nightmares as the brain's way of processing threats, a kind of rehearsal for danger that, paradoxically, may build resilience. Therapies such as imagery, rehearsal therapy, IRT, where sufferers consciously rewrite the narrative of recurring nightmares, have shown success in reducing their frequency. Even so, the emotional power of nightmares, a reminder of how dreams mirror our deepest vulnerabilities. They are the stormy nights of the inner world, unsettling yet profoundly human, revealing the interplay between memory, imagination, and fear. Fact 98. Sleep debt, the cumulative effect of insufficient rest, is a modern epidemic, often hidden beneath caffeine and determination. Missing even an hour or two of sleep each night may seem trivial, but over days and weeks, it builds into a deficit the body cannot easily ignore. Unlike financial debt, sleep debt cannot be paid off quickly with one long slumber. While some recovery is possible, chronic deprivation leaves lasting marks on attention, mood, and health. Researchers liken it to running a car on low oil. Performance may continue for a while, but damage accrues unseen. In societies where long work hours and digital distractions dominate, sleep debt has become normalized, fueling fatigue, errors, and accidents. Studies show that drivers awake for 24 hours perform as poorly as those legally intoxicated, illustrating the dangers of chronic exhaustion. The remedy is deceptively simple: consistent, adequate rest, ideally 7 to 9 hours for most adults. Yet achieving this requires cultural change, valuing sleep as essential rather than expendable. Sleep debt teaches us that the body keeps careful accounting, and no amount of ambition or willpower can erase the biological need for nightly restoration. Fact 99. Dreams have inspired not only personal creativity, but entire works of art, literature, and science that shaped history. Mary Shelley conceived Frankenstein after a vivid dream of a scientist confronted by his own monstrous creation, a vision that became one of literature's most enduring stories. Samuel Taylor Coleridge claimed his unfinished poem Kubla Khan emerged from a dreamlike trance, interrupted tragically by a person from Porlock. Salvador used dream states to fuel his surrealist paintings, deliberately courting hypnagogic visions with a spoon and plate. Technique: falling asleep. Holding a spoon, which would clatter upon dropping, jolting him awake to capture the fleeting imagery. Even scientific revolutions trace back to dreams. The chemist Friedrich August envisioned the ring structure of benzene in a dream of a snake biting its tail. These examples reveal how the dream world bleeds into waking creation, acting as a reservoir of ideas that defy linear thought. The boundary between dream and reality is porous, and in that porousness lies a fertile ground for invention. To sleep, then, is not only to rest, but to step into a workshop where imagination roams free, seeding visions that alter culture and knowledge. Fact 100. Ultimately, sleep is one of the greatest mysteries of existence, a universal need shared by humans and animals, yet still not fully understood. Despite decades of research, scientists cannot entirely explain why organisms devote a third of life to apparent vulnerability. Evolutionary theories suggest sleep conserves energy, promotes brain plasticity, or protects organisms from nocturnal dangers. Physiological studies highlight its roles in repair, memory, emotional regulation, and metabolic balance. Yet sleep resists a single definition, embodying both biology and poetry. It is the nightly surrender to unconsciousness, the stage where the self dissolves and reemerges anew. Across cultures, sleep has been honored as a sacred space linked to dreams, visions, and spiritual renewal. To view the act of lying down and closing one's eyes as mundane is to overlook its profundity. Every night, sleep offers a miniature death and rebirth, a passage into mystery that both humbles and heals. Perhaps that is why lullabies are sung, rituals enacted, and myths told, to honor this universal voyage. In the end, sleep reminds us of our humanity, binding us to the rhythms of the earth, the cycles of time, and the infinite expanse of dreams.